everyone. Hi, I'm your host. It's Jessica Koch. We're back again. It's another Profound Professionals. We have had the honor of interviewing industry experts from all over the globe for the last I think we're approaching 8 years now. Can you believe it? And it's only because of you. So I'm thanking you for following and sharing and liking, and for the amazing guests that we've had over the course of the years. And today is no different. I have Sean Albertson. Sean doesn't know this, but when I was in like the sixth grade, the heartthrob of our class, the guy's name was Sean. Everybody was in love with Sean. So Sean's a great name. And Sean is a 20 plus year customer service leader. He really helps with that experience, that customer experience. He's just launched this professional speaking and consulting company, and he helps organizations transform their customer journey. So you just think about, from the time the company learns your name and all the steps and all the processes and all the things that your customer experiences, it being the top level red carpet treatment. When it's that, you build a raving fan for life. You build people who will go out and scream on the mountaintops about how you bent over backwards to serve them. You over delivered, you went above and beyond, and their emotions will be tied to these messages. And then you just won't be able to keep up with the orders from there. You'll have a whole new problem. So if you'd like to have that experience, well, I think we should meet Sean. Hi, Sean. How are you?
Hello. Well, I will tell you, I was named after a heartthrob. My mom named me after Sean Connery, one of the best 007s there was. So there's at
Amen.
least that.
Amen. Yeah, we did. I had uh, uh, I have a hot hunky husband of 25 years that I wouldn't trade for all the no offense, but for all the Seans on the planet. And Sean Connery, of course, he's up there. But yeah, it brought me back to those days and remembering he sat in front of me in class, and all the girls swooned. So how did you get in the customer experience, customer journey, customer service space of it all, in supporting companies to transform this so that it really was stellar?
Well, so I started, my first jobs out of college were in call centers, on the phones, answering calls of customers. And I worked
That's
my way
hard
up,
work. That is
absolutely,
hard
it's very
work.
hard. I mean, this was back before you could point and click. It was more enter code into the green screen and things like that. But I worked my way through customer service. I kind of spent time in leadership roles across pretty much everything you could do in the contact center. And then in the early 2000s, as customer experience began to really take form, this is when surveys became more common, online platforms to take surveys, provide feedback. So I started doing a lot more of research and analytics. And I spent time in marketing and product and pricing and IT and in digital, also in customer service, all doing CX type of work, really focusing on what's most important to the clients, how can the organizations, you know, really hit on those things you described, but the opportunity to delight, but also the ability to not tick people off and create challenges for the customers as well.
Mhm. So do you primarily focus your work to the mid to larger corporation? Is that your main audience as far as the service that you provide? You work with companies that are that mid to larger size corporations?
I work with all sizes now. Most big organizations already have customer experience departments, and so I can consult with the bigger companies. But really, that mid-size, maybe even smaller, those groups that are trying to figure it out, that's really a sweet spot of bringing my 20 plus years of experience in, letting them understand all the different things that they can do, because CX is not easy. The experience we create takes everyone at the company, and
Mhm.
it can sometimes be challenging to know where to focus, because you also have a lot of different opinions out there. So I work with organizations of different sizes, but kind of more towards the mid-size, really helping them understand the options and where to put their funding and their investment for CX programs.
Is there a specific industry that is really your expertise, or do you kind of work across the board, or what does that look like?
My expertise is in any industries where that you have a known relationship with the customer. And so financial services, banking, financial services, insurance, where you have a relationship there, or telecommunications, where you have a subscription service among
Mhm.
all the different telco. I mean, that's really where I spent my career, about 15 years in telco and 15 years in financial services. So a
Mhm.
lot of experience in that relationship. But even then, I still work with retail organizations. But
Mhm.
my program that I've developed is really around that, those opportunities where you understand the client, their customer, where they're coming from. You have a little bit more of a connection with them, and then all of the programs I work with really help capitalize on that as well.
That's really interesting. And now, when you work with companies, I imagine, are you doing this virtually? Is it a group program, or is it all one-on-one specific with that individual company? How do you go about delivering the support and the consulting that you provide?
Sure. Well, first, a lot of different ways. So, first and foremost, I am a professional speaker. So, I speak at a ton of CX industry conferences all the time, and share to, really mass audiences around CX and how things are
Mhm.
changing, especially now with AI. I also do that same kind of, uh, you know keynote, if you will, at corporate events where the organization is really kicking off the year in a focus of customer experience. But I also have workshops, 1, 2, and 3 day workshops that I can work with companies on. And then there's always that group or one-on-one consulting and coaching to help them implement, in many cases, programs over time. A big part of that as well.
I can see the speaking to the national associations being really key for you. It's one of the cornerstones of how I got started in the world of sales and marketing. Well, first I was in radio advertising sales, but after that, I worked for a firm that reduced operating costs for large organizations across the country, and I went to national conferences and was a key speaker for different associations. And I know that there are some for. I was listening to your key industries for like the CFOs of credit unions across the country, and banking organizations, and there's some really great ones um, that go on for that. So that would be wonderful for you. Yeah, I think speaking, it really helps, especially if you're an entertaining speaker and you can make them laugh and you can get them involved and you can tell a good story, and you can make it something that they'll remember, and it won't feel quite so painful. Poor people in banking, finance, and insurance, they go through enough seminars of pain. I hope there's a little bit of a comedic relief, comic relief in the process there for you, just on behalf of the listeners.
Absolutely. Well, you're right. And, any speaker who, bores you, I just think back to Ferris Bueller, the
I
professor that is the long time, example of that. But no, I love telling stories, and love joining groups like you, and in your podcast and others, to really kind of talk about the stories that we can tell, and so forth, because stories are how you really get hearts and minds involved. It's not through statistics or things of that nature. It is through the stories that we tell, and it's just part of human nature to really focus in or resonate with stories.
Is there one tip you could give today to anybody listening that has customers, whether they're a solopreneur or they're a larger corporation, they have customers? What's one thing they could do today to really improve and increase the experience for that customer?
The biggest one is to get started. You have to study your customers. You can't take anything for granted when it
Mm.
comes to your customers based on your product and your industry. Everything that your company depends on is there to understand, but you've got to get started. And most organizations and are doing pretty good with starting with surveys, things of that nature, just to try to find out, what are people feeling, what are they thinking, what do they like, what do they not like, and those are ways to really
Mhm.
get started. But these days the technology has made it so much easier to really understand and dig deeper into the data. And there are plenty of vendors, of course, who would like to sell products to really take you that direction. But it's taking that opportunity, to really get your people and your processes in place so you believe that the customer experience is important. 80% of customers say the experience they have with your company is as important as the products or services you sell. And it's
Yeah.
going up all the time. And so you've got to know that understanding and studying your own customer's experience is extremely important. And start with surveys. That's the greatest way to just get it started. But you know that you're going to have to go deeper than that. Survey fatigue is a real thing, especially after COVID. People are kind of like, I don't want to take any more surveys. And so there's a lot more to do there, but just get started. Make it a focus for your business.
I love that. That's great. Now, before we move on to sharing our guest cause today, is there anything else about yourself, Sean, personally, or your business that you'd like to share with everybody?
Well, so I'm here in Colorado, and a lot of what I talk about and the way I translate to is about outdoors and things of that nature. I'm not necessarily a full-on outdoors guy, but when we think about the experience that we have, I tie a lot of the understanding of the customer journey. In fact, we talked about that in the beginning to the journey that our customers take is like a river. And if you think about it, we like to think it's a nice, straight, smooth float, maybe in a, in or two with a cold one or whatever, and nice and easy. But too often it's roaring rapids, or you're bouncing back and forth, across different contact channels, trying to the phone or the website or the chat or the mobile app. And so
Yeah.
it's really focusing on the journey, not just the channel and the task that we do. And that's a key thing that I really build on, that is around it's the full journey. There's so much involved in creating great experiences. You've got to make sure you're focused across all those different contact channels like phone, chat, email, mobile, all of that, chat bot, all the new technology as well, and really understanding how that journey is stitched together. That's a key focus for me and my coaching and my consulting and really my speaking as well.
I love that. That's really good. Um, we are proud that part of our podcast, since its inception, is sharing a cause that our clients care about. And it's one of the big reasons you watching hit that share button. And it just is so powerful. You just don't know whose business you'll improve or whose life you can change when you hit the share button and spread some awareness about these wonderful causes. It inspires people when they hear about them to share time, treasure, or talent with these organizations, to volunteer, or just to share them with someone else who might need them. So, Sean, talk with us for a few minutes about the cause that you care about.
Yeah, I have a very close connection to this cause, because it's very close to home. So it's the Cerebral Palsy Foundation.
Mhm.
My brother from birth is mentally and physically disabled. He's been in a
Mhm.
wheelchair ever since I can remember. And so CP, as it's often called, it impacts so many people across the world, and it is such a challenging situation. And in fact, in many ways, as I think and talk about customer experience, sometimes I'm thinking and talking about it from my perspective as my brother's guardian. Our parents have passed, and so I'm now responsible for my brother and my brother's keeper, if you will. And so there's so much focus on helping people in that community in so many different ways, and finding solutions. So the Cerebral Palsy Foundation is something that I fully, am in support of, and would love for others to really consider that as well.
That's beautiful. And I know we have an interview coming up, so keep your eyes peeled for an amazing individual who gives coaching support to caregivers out there. Because, there is a lot to be said for the superhumans like you, Sean, who have a full time care of someone that they love, who have these things in life. So I think that's beautiful. So, maybe you don't know anyone, but you just feel inspired to give to this cause or share the link to spread awareness, or maybe look for your local organization and volunteer, or do a walk or a run, or attend one of their charity events and have some fun. Those are great gifts, by the way. Keep that in mind for all the different holidays and birthdays and things throughout the course of the year. There's always an excuse to give a gift. Sometimes a great gift is tickets to a nonprofit's charity concert or ball or events, or sign somebody up, a buddy, and do a walk run with them or something. So great cause. Thanks for sharing that, Sean. Now you guys know it. It hasn't changed since the last show. It's not going to change for the next show. I am creating the ultimate book list. So we gather from our guests the golden nuggets of amazing books. We always start with one not written by them, and then we feature a lot of the books written by them because many of the guests are authors, not all of them. But I asked Sean if he could share with us a book that inspired his personal life or helped his business grow, that wasn't written by you. So what book do you have for us, Sean?
So a book came out in 2013 that changed my career, and it changed my career trajectory. I wouldn't be doing this today if it weren't for this book. And I'm lucky enough over the years, I've actually met and have gotten to know the authors of the book itself. So the book that I really would like to recommend is called The Effortless Experience. Matt Dixon, Rick DeLisi. It's one of those books that it didn't necessarily hit. It was very well received, but there's still a lot of people who never heard of it. And so I'm constantly telling people, read
I've
this
never
book.
heard of it. I love it. You're
It,
sharing a book
oh,
we haven't heard of.
it's a phenomenal book. And, a few things about it, this was the group is Customer Executive Board, CEB, and the content is now owned by Gartner from that perspective. And so it's still around. But the effortless experience, the researchers, what they found was, you want to try to delight your customers. You were talking about it kind of at the beginning. You want to wow them as much as you can. Hard part is you can't always do it. It's hard to do that. And it's definitely hard to do it at scale. But what they found was if something's hard, if the customer says something is hard to do, they're 4 times more likely to be disloyal. And I mean, it's actually in my research since the book came out, it's now 5 times more likely that they're going to be disloyal if something's hard to do. I mean, think about it. It's all based on the stinking cell phone. I mean, everything has gotten so easy that when
We want the
something's
easy
not,
button for sure. We
yeah,
want the easy
we're
button.
out and we go to someone else. And so that's really what started me down this path, as well as a few other things on really being a champion for reducing effort, to improve loyalty, and transform the journey, because that's ultimately where most of our struggles end up coming up.
I love that. I love that. Now, you're an author, so tell us all about your book. Let's go. Let's hear it.
Absolutely. Well, it's right here behind me, but I also have a copy here. So my book is Four Rocks, and I talked earlier about the river analogy and how the journey sometimes is a lot harder than we think. And so my book is a culmination of really the last 15 years of building programs, and it's a way in which organizations can find the rocks that are creating challenges in that journey. Ultimately, those things that are getting in the way, whether it's poorly trained agents, whether it's broken processes or technology that's not designed or connected. I mean, any number of things can get in the way. And in today's landscape, the business structure is so much more complex because we've got so many more ways to communicate with customers. And so what we're finding is that journey is getting a lot harder. Those rocks are showing up often between the channels as I'm trying to go from, let's say, chatting with an agent to calling an agent, that there's a breakdown in communication. And so the program I've developed, which is the rocks strategy that I explain in the book, is really kind of continuing on what they found in the effortless experience. And high effort creates disloyalty. Well, now how do you actually find those both highest effort challenges and understand them enough to know how to prioritize the solution? Because most companies, it's not that they don't know they've got problems. Most companies, they know they have too many problems to take care of. So it's more about how to prioritize the different problems to work on. And that's where my program, the book, really helps companies outline processes and ways to do that using technology, including AI, to really drive change in and across their organization to be easier and focus on the journey in that way.
I love that. And it really complements. And I don't often even mention what I do in my shows, as my followers will know. But I think one of the things that I resonate with that so much is there are so many entrepreneurs and solopreneurs popping up, more now, I think, than ever before. And we have a virtual assistant membership program. And so you talked about, systems, automating things, and then also having even at bare minimum a virtual assistant team. Anyone can afford to do that. You maybe are not quite ready for the 100 employees yet, but to get started having that small VA team, that's something you could call us for, and we'll share with you how to do it, and or we'll provide them for you. We have both options. So I love that, what you're saying, and it makes a whole lot of sense. Evaluating different ways you can make things easier, flow more, and run more smoothly. Now, if you're watching and you're thinking, wait, I wrote a book, I speak on topics, I'm an industry expert, I can grow someone's business or help them be successful and scale, or I can help them improve their personal life or communications or relationships. Whatever your gift is, whatever your skill, if you should be on our show, well, reach out. We'd love to feature you. And I bet if you are an industry expert, one or two other industry experts. You're out there. I know where you are. You're on those virtual Zooms. You're in those networking groups. You're at the chamber. You're all those places the other business leaders and experts are too. Well, don't be selfish. Be someone's hero. Introduce them to us so that we can get them featured on the show too. But most importantly, we thank you and we love you for liking and sharing. But before we say goodbye, we're going to ask Sean to share one final piece of information or inspiration to close out our show. What do you got for us, Sean?
Well, I just want you to think about your worst and your best experiences as a consumer. Don't even think about your own company, but think of yourself as a consumer and think about those experiences on the side of challenge. Maybe yours are like mine. You try to find solutions through any number of different channels the company has made for you, but you're constantly running into roadblocks. Think about that great experience, though. The one where it seemed like they actually predicted what you needed and removed a rock, if you will, without you even having to face it. That's what we're trying to accomplish, that seamless experience. And again, it's a marathon, not a sprint, as many things are, to really focus on that and build the muscle of experience for your organization. I can definitely help with that. Love to do that. My website is www.cx4rocks.com. Love to talk to you.
Yeah, please reach out to our amazing guest here, Sean, and we'll be doing a custom article to go with this. And there'll also be details in the description, no matter where you're finding us, and you can find us lots of places. You already know that. So until next time, thanks for being with us, everyone. I'm your host, Jessica Koch, and as always, remember, be kind to yourself and be kind to each other. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.